Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Saturday, March 1st, after the Celtics lost to the Cavs. We talked about that in last night's video. Some other Celtic stuff going on, some NBA stuff. We'll go over it, but we're here talking, as always. How you doing, Sam?
Doing okay. Exciting show today. We'll talk more about how the Celtics lost yesterday. We'll talk about how Twitter's reacted to the Celtics losing yesterday. We'll go and read your emails, which will be fun. And then we'll go around the NBA, look at the standings, look at the big stories leaking out here as we head into March. We'll do the rat list. We'll get out of here. Should be a fun show. Make sure you stick around, leave a like, comment, subscribe. We're here every single day. New pods drop Thursday, Sunday, Tuesday. Game recaps, morning after each game, other videos in between.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's start with...
Also, Roundtable back Tuesday. Everybody come see it. We're doing it Tuesday night. According
Yes.
to the chat.
Okay. I didn't know this. Yes, down. Works for me. All right, let's start with the Cavs. So obviously Celtics lost to the Cavs last night as we're recording this 2 nights ago. As you guys are listening to this, I played the Nuggets today as you're hearing this. We are going to look at some film, just general stuff. We can look at different things. We'll start wherever you want. Sam, if there's anywhere in particular you want to start. I've looked at a lot of stuff this morning for the video I'm working on, which again will have been out by the time you guys hear this anyways. My conclusion from watching most of it, the Cavs made tough shots and the Celtics didn't. Like, sometimes it's just as simple as that. Like, there wasn't anything egregious that I thought the Celtics messed up. There were some possessions where they didn't get a body on offensive rebound. Obviously, those things happened. There were a few like really tough possessions and bad momentum spots that went in the way of the Cavs, which is what it is. It's not like saying, oh, they didn't deserve it. Like, it's just how NBA and basketball works sometimes. So we can look at those if we want. But the video that I made was basically good teams play well against each other. Sometimes it comes down to one team makes more tough shots than the other. And the Celtics tough shot making dried up from the first half a little bit. And I don't think they made any egregious mistakes. There were like a few small things in there, but as there is for any team. But the Cavs just made more buckets and big spots than the Celtics did. And when two good teams play each other, it's kind of just how it happens sometimes.
I feel like we haven't seen, people in the comments might like really be like, yes, we have. I feel like we haven't seen the Celtics get out bucketed in a big spot in quite some time. Maybe the Thunder game, but that one was just like an entire half of bullshit. Like, I feel like for the most part, the Celtics have been relatively good in close games, specifically through the beginning of last year until now. And that is what has brought them to the next level, right? Like, they are now above and beyond what they used to be. Close games used to be something we would all worry about. We would talk about on this show almost every week, probably multiple times a week. Can they win a close game? I don't know if I trust them in a close game, and so on. For them to lose the Cavs yesterday in that kind of way was a little disappointing. I wouldn't call it jarring. I would say that, if anything, I said on the pod yesterday, the Cavs did a lot for themselves in 2.5 hours in terms of what I think of them. I don't think they're going to be like this tremendous threat to the Celtics still, but I think they are better. Like, it's like the Celtics and then the Cavs are like on a lower tier, but the top of that tier touches the bottom of the Celtics tier, and then you have the Knicks. Also, nice shirt. Like Knicks and the rest of the teams. That is like they're competitive. I think Donovan Mitchell is very real, and I think he makes them dangerous in close game situations because we've now seen him. What is he averaging against the Celtics this year? I think I saw somebody put like 35 points a game or something crazy like that. Like, they are not stopping Donovan Mitchell. They are not. He's getting anything he wants against the Celtics. They don't really have a solution for him. On the contrary, the Cavs have no solution for either of the Jays. The Jays have been excellent in these games as well. So in the playoffs, you should get a lot of star power. I did not answer in the slightest your question of what I would like to look at. If you want to pull up the Donovan Mitchell buckets, we can maybe look and be like, what could they have done to stop him here? And the answer is going to be probably nothing. But we could look. We can see the shoes get thrown.
Yeah, I looked at them all this morning, so I can give you a little preview. It is just, unless they have Drew Holiday or Kristaps Porzingis, it's kind of nothing. It is Sam Hauser's on the floor, so they're going to attack Sam Hauser. that was kind of the end all be all of the Donovan Mitchell buckets for a lot of them. And really the Cavs fourth quarter buckets. So the Cavs made 10 shots in the fourth quarter. 3 were Evan Mobley, either step in threes or a post up on D White. 6 were Donovan Mitchell creating for him or someone else. And then 1 was the Darius Garland step back on Sam Hauser. So it was literally just Donovan Mitchell creating stuff for his team almost the entire quarter. We can watch the ones from 2-minute mark in the third onward, because I feel like that's really the inflection point of this game. In my video, I talked about it too. Like, I don't think the 22-point lead mattered as much in this game as the 17-point lead did, because that lead would go away. But the fact that they brought it all the way back out to 17 in the third quarter, like, for me, that's where the game started, because that's when the Celtics had a second lead that they could hold in a more reasonable position to hold it for the remainder of the game. And that's where things sort of excuse me, I don't want to say fell apart, but went awry, obviously. But Donovan Mitchell gets the ball, makes, Derek White on him, just pulls up in Tatum's face. Tough shot. like I said in my video, sometimes good teams make tough shots, and he just pulled up in Jayson Tatum's face with a hand in his face, and he made it. And that is what it is. Next one is on Al Horford and Luke Cornett in the lane. Luke Cornett, hand in his face. Tough floater. Makes a shot with a hand in his face. Again, like, could they have stepped up a little more? Sure. It's a tough shot by a good player. This is the one that was bad defense. They just sort of lost him in transition a little bit because they're stopping the drive.
Brutal.
This was a bad one at a good spot. At this point, the Celtics have been holding a 10-ish point lead for the most of the quarter, and this got it down to 3.
Mind you,
then
at that point, Mitchell was on a 5-0 personal run, and they
off
didn't pick him up in transition.
Yeah. They were scrambling. It happens, but it was tough. Next, drives on Hauser. Hauser, hand in his face. Doesn't matter. Floater over him. See you later. Donovan Mitchell does Donovan Mitchell things. Next one, Sam Hauser on him again. Hauser stays in front, and then Donovan Mitchell creates a step back. Like, he's a superstar, right? He created a step back. I don't know what the Celtics could do different there. This was a really good play. Here come the shoes, but ignore the shoes.
The shoes.
Donovan Mitchell play great defense on him, and then he beats Derek White off the dribble because he's pressed up to stop the 3, and then he just jukes Jaylen Brown and makes a good play. Like, it happens. Like, good offense beats good defense sometimes, and he just beat him. Sam Hauser on him again. Derek White fouls him because he didn't commit to the help, and won because he beat Hauser off the dribble, and that's it. That's all the shots he made from the third quarter on. I would say half of them are, what the fuck do you want to do with it? A couple of them are, he beat Sam Hauser off the dribble, but like, how much you get to bend your defense to give up open threes, which they did for one play, and Darius Garland got a 3. And then,
which was ridiculous, by the way.
Exactly. So if the take is, and I agree with it, that's ridiculous, like, don't help off Darius Garland, then you have to be okay with him taking Sam Hauser off the dribble in those spots, right? Because you can't have both. You can't have both unless you bend the backside of the defense and then you get dunker spot guys open. Like that is the whole problem of Sam Hauser being on the floor in that spot, is you have a weak point, and if you help off anywhere else, you're going to get an open shot elsewhere, which is why I think it's important to note that, like, this is why you probably want Jrue Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis in the lineups, to help you with the extra rim protection and wingspan of denying dunker spot while also protecting the rim and not having a guy that they can go at. So that's not an excuse for why they lost, but like, it's a reason Donovan Mitchell was able to attack that mismatch as relentlessly as he did.
Yeah, they had no answer for him. He scored. I mean, you saw the clips. Everybody watching saw the clips. He scored on every level. He got to the rim and dunked. He was making tough floaters in the lane. He was creating threes for himself. He was making threes in big spots, by the way. Like, the first couple shots he makes in that third quarter, literally, like, CPR'd the Cavs. Like, the Cavs were dead. And then it was like NBA Central coming back to life. Like, all of a sudden they're in the game. He rips off a personal, like, 11-2 run or whatever it was to close the quarter and bring the Cavs to within 3. And from that point on, it kind of just felt like the Celtics were on their heels. They kind of got punched in the face at a moment in the game where they thought the Cavs would maybe they thought they would roll over. Like, they had made their run. The Celtics had responded. They did a great job to that point, and they didn't finish off the third quarter. They missed their chance to seal the deal, bury the Cavs at that point of the game, because if you close that third quarter better, and you don't, let's just say they don't even go scoreless, like, they don't just, like, melt, that game might end very differently. They could have just decided it there. It could have been 10 points going into the fourth quarter, and that feels like the end. Like everybody would be like, "Oh yeah, they got it in the bag," and that would be it. But no, they let him hang into it, and Mitchell was incredible. Like you have to give him all the credit in the world. Mobley was great too, keeping possessions alive, even though it didn't result directly to points. Did kind of stunt any momentum the Celtics were trying to get. It was frustrating for the people in the arena. Lots of groans around, and more importantly, the Celtics had to lock in and defend for another 14 seconds at a time, even if they did force a shot clock violation, which they did, but they had to earn that. And that doesn't do much, or that doesn't help your offense when you're struggling to put the ball in the basket, when your legs are getting worked even more than they should be.
Yes. The unfortunate part is, and I agree with, like, if you don't melt on offense, they didn't melt on offense like in terms of process. Every single look they got late in that third quarter was a really good shot. I'll pull them up here so we can watch, but this is how I spent my morning, looking at every shot they took in the quarter. They're all good looks. So at Brown gets a layup when there's a timeout and it's 87-70, right? This possession was a little bit of a miss. Tatum missed a fadeaway. He had a kick out. Maybe he could have kicked it out. It might have been a tough pass, but if they had spaced a little better, it could have been different. But then Hunter makes a three, and then it's 87-73. Hauser missed a step in midi, which was a good shot. It didn't go down. Actually, let me pull up the clips of their offense so I can explain to you while we watch the clips. I'll pull it up here in a second. Here, okay. I'll start at. Let's see. Bear with me. I think I want to start at this. No, I want to start at the Jaylen Brown this one. Here. So this is when, no, I lied. Where the fuck is the Jaylen Brown puts them up? This. So this is when they went up by 17. Cavs timeout. Jaylen gets his own rebound. Up 17. This is the lead that matters. This is the lead where the Celtics had control of the game. This is where you can try to close it out. And I just showed you what Donovan Mitchell did to them to bring the lead back. The Celtics offense wasn't bad, though. Like, you look at all the process of these shots down the stretch here, as it just completely chops and lags, but we'll deal with it. I don't know if it's my computer or the NBA.com. Tatum gets Donovan Mitchell on him. He drives. This is the one where he could have had a kick out. You swing this to Horford here, and you deal with it from there. Like, this is the one that I noticed in the third quarter. That's like, all right, probably could have made a good play. He gets a fadeaway. It almost drops. He's made that play shot a million times already tonight. It is what it is. This is the one where you're like, okay, be nitpicky, kick it to Horford, go from there.
And there's no way he would have seen him either. Like if
Exactly.
you really analyze this, his head never enters the angle it would have to be to see that side of the floor.
This is the only spot where you maybe should look back. You should know the rotations and then just kick it. But it is what it is. After this point, Hunter made a three, and so they were within 14. Next play after this, Hauser's going to miss a midi. After they make a good play, Derek White gets a kick out because he draws two. Hauser pump fake, see you later, and then he just misses it. Brown even gets the rebound
shot,
but it's a offensive foul because I think this is what Jaylen Brown was talking after the game about.
Yeah, Corrales asked about this, and Jaylen felt as if this changed the game. This play right here, because it was his fourth foul.
Garland flopped.
Jaylen was playing well to this point, and then he had to be subbed out because he was in foul trouble. Like he was. I mean, Jack showed the play where he got his own miss and laid the ball in. To that point, had maybe 8 points or 6 points to start the third quarter. He was on fire, and it kind of killed any momentum that he had. Kind of disrupted the team's flow on offense too. Not a great time for that.
Yeah, Garland just kind of flops down. It is what it is. Cavs made good rotations on this regardless, so credit their defense. After this, the Cavs missed a shot. Pritchard traveled, and then Jared Allen made an alley-oop to make it a 10-point lead for the Celtics. Tatum gets a midi that he had been making all game, creates a ton of space. He made the shot how many times throughout the game at that point? It's a good shot, whatever. It was weird spacing a little bit because Horford's in the paint, and so maybe you want to leave that driving lane open. But regardless, this was a shot Tatum had been making all night. But then Garland drives past Hauser for a bucket on the other end, so it's an 8-point game next time the Celtics get the ball right here. And then Tatum responds by doing what he does. See you later, Jared Allen. I'm going to drive right by you. You can't guard me. And bucket, right? Back up to 10. Celtics had a 10-point lead for almost the entire end of the third quarter until the last couple minutes. Then Garland, the next possession was kind of messed up in the sense of like unlucky. Garland missed, but they challenged it and it was out off Tatum. And then Garland missed again, but Allen got an offensive rebound and drew 2 free throws. So Cavs are now up or down by 8 next time we see the possession. So it's tough. Tatum bully balled his way past Ty Jerome here, threw DeAndre Hunter for a bucket. Probably should have gotten a foul call. He wasn't too happy about it. Whatever. And then Cornette blocked a Garland drive, and the Celtics got the ball again. Still up by 10 from that drive. Tatum pulls a 3 here over Jared Allen. Say what you want about it. It's later in the shot clock. Unfortunately, Bet.com doesn't let me watch the rest of the play. It's maybe you'd rather him drive. Probably would rather him drive. They're loading the box a little. Maybe you can make him play from there. He was hot at this point. Trust the guy. It is what it is. You can nitpick this if you really want to. Then next possession, Allen gets deep post position because Tatum has to guard him here. So he gets really deep in the post and gets an easy shot there. And so the Cavs are now down by 8 again. And then Tatum hits a midi fadeaway over Jared Allen. So they're back up by 10 again. They maintained a 10-point lead for almost the entire end of this third quarter before Donovan Mitchell got hot on those plays. And then, so they're down by 8 again here, but the possession in it was brutal because I'll pull it up here just because I think it was particularly like, Jesus Christ, what are you going to do? Brutal. So Ty Jerome got a offensive rebound, his own offensive rebound. And I need to find it later in this third quarter. Sorry, I should have had these clips a little bit ready, but it is what it is. Ty Jerome got his own rebound here. And it like bounced right back to himself. It was like a classic. All right, well, that sucks. Just perfectly over Pritchard's head. And then he ends up kicking it out to Darius Garland, who misses. But then Tatum gets called for a loose ball foul midair on Sam Merrill. So Ty Jerome gets the ball. And then Sam Merrill cuts in past Tatum and just kind of like falls in the air. And Tatum gets a foul. Maybe it was his hands were on his body. It is what it is. It's just a tough spot. And then the Cavs end up getting points out of that possession because Garland hits a floater after another foul. So it's like little stuff like that. Like, oh my gosh, they finally play good defense. And then an unlucky shit happens or a guy draws a foul or something. And then we get into the last couple minutes of the third, where it is Cavs within 8. Derek White misses a catch and shoot 3 that, you know, you trust him to make. Horford gets the rebound, but Pritchard even gets it. So they're back up by 11. So it doesn't matter, right? Like the whole end of the third quarter was Celtics getting good shots, making good plays, but then Donovan Mitchell just like got some tough buckets.
The whole discussion leading up to this was to talk about this point on. Like once they hit 96,
Sure.
They didn't score again.
Sure, we can keep going. But then Derek White gets a shot. Jayson Tatum maybe should have gone up there. I think he thought DeAndre Hunter was like
it was a tough miss.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Unlucky, right? Unlucky miss. And then they score.
The first shot wasn't great.
Sure, but then this possession happens, and then Tatum gets on Hunter, you know, butt naked, wide open, creates all the space in the world for a 3. I don't care if it's a step back. Look at this. Wide open. Exactly. And then it just doesn't fall. And then it's an 8-0 Cavs run because Donovan Mitchell's hot. Another open 3 because, you know, these are the 3s Tatum's been getting all year. Like, my point is, like, I don't think their offensive process at the end of the third quarter was bad. They just missed shots that they can usually make, and the Cavs made all the shots. And then the end of the third quarter, Tatum gets a bucket anyways. Like, my whole point is, as much as it is like they wilted or whatever, I don't think they did. I think they just missed tough shots, and the Cavs made tough shots.
I mean, missing shots still factors into that. It doesn't mean that they played sloppy ball. It means that.
My point is, the process was there. Like, so what's the solution? Just make the shot.
Open or not, it's still a difficult shot to take, and he was on one. Like, it's justified. But the best shot he takes in that stretch is the one that we just watched, which is fine.
Sure.
Ultimately, they didn't do a good enough job making shots at the end of the quarter. Good shots, bad shots, doesn't matter. They didn't go in. And they never really recovered the offensive flow. They only scored 18 in the fourth quarter. I think the Jalen absence does hurt that. I think they did miss the flexibility to go
Jalen played
towards
the whole
him.
fourth.
No, I mean in the third quarter.
Oh, yes.
There's something to this too, where he's a world-class athlete and everything, but like Tatum, I'm sure his legs were a little tired taking so many shots, and that does factor in whether he feels it or not, whether or not they're dropping. Having somebody to take some of that pressure off would have been nice in that spot. And this is not to blame the officials. It's just, it's the circumstance of what happened. Jalen was very adamant that they should have won the game regardless. Like, he felt like they should have been able to finish it off. They didn't. They didn't make a field goal after the shoe throw. Oddly enough, the shoe throw was on the possession where they had the noise meter on after Boston had tied the game behind some good Jalen buckets. They just didn't have the legs at the end of the game. Whatever it might have been, just missed shots. You said it when we started this. Cleveland made big shots. The Celtics didn't, and that was the difference at the end of this game. And the way that Cleveland got back into the game was shot making. Like, Mitchell made hard shots. That's what he does. That's why he makes the money he makes. And that's why he's the best player on this Cavs team that has a tremendous record at this point of the year.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, even looking at the fourth quarter, like, the Cavs shot 38% from the field. Like, it's not like they shot this otherworldly number, and some of that came off the same possession. They had offensive rebounds, and it is what it is. And
what the Celtics shoot
that contributed 35, but
that's what makes it so much more frustrating because it was right there for the taking, and they just weren't able to do it.
Difference is 4 of 11 from 3 versus 1 of 5 from 3. Threes, like that's a 9-point gap on threes alone right there. In a quarter, you lost by 10, so it's tough. There's obviously some things the Celtics should have done better and could have done better, and it is what it is. But in my opinion, this game just came down to the Cavs made bigger shots at bigger moments, and that's it's tough. It's a tough way to lose, and there's no real like in-depth analysis. They can do this better, play this player, this rotation, whatever, especially when you're down 2 starters and you have to have a guy who I love Sam Hauser. He's great. And I don't think he's as bad of a defender as was on display tonight, but he's not guarding Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. Like, that's not what he's built to do. So it's just a tough loss, and you almost have to not throw your hands up, but be like, it's a tough one. You move on, you adjust, and it kind of just is what it is.
Yep. I mean, it's exactly that. Like, you can't do anything about it now. It was a tough way to lose. They should have won. There's no getting around it. Like, they didn't have the guys. They were there at the end of the game. They should have finished the job. They had multiple big-time leads that they let go. Whether it was they let it go or they got outplayed, they still lost the leads. And in a playoff setting, that's not really good enough. But at the same time, I don't think the takeaway from yesterday's game, including like right when it was happening, was that the Celtics were not good enough. Like, the Cavs, Donovan Mitchell in particular, was just that much better when the game was coming down to the end.
Yep, exactly. Before we go to the next thing, I need to tell you about PrizePicks. PrizePicks, the best place to get real money sports action this basketball season. So make sure to download the app and use code CLNS. You can win up to 1,000x your money on PrizePicks right now. Offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday every Tuesday. PrizePicks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide you even more value for your lineups. Like I said, it's the best place to win real money this basketball season. Which players are going off, which ones aren't. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money. I don't know how our PrizePicks did last night, Sam. Do you know if we
didn't win?
Hit?
We had Pritchard
win?
for 18 points and something else, and he didn't do a whole lot.
No, he did not. Let me see. We lost. It did not win because Al also didn't get the 15.5 or more than that points rebounds, and Jared Allen didn't get a block because he barely played. So we did not get a dub, but make sure to tune in. We play PrizePicks every pregame show. We're going to be hitting up some lineups all season, and we'll see if our luck changes. But download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. But after the Cavs loss, Jayson Tatum got a bunch of heat on Twitter because it's Saturday and any day that ends in Y that happens on Twitter. Tatum did the whole get him out of here in the first quarter when he was up. And then obviously they lost, and so everyone was on Twitter like, "Look at this arrogant loser." And the takeaway that I saw was, so if Tatum celebrates, he's arrogant, but if he says nothing, he's soft and quiet. So it's really like there's really no winning if you're Jayson Tatum, which it is what it is. Like, it doesn't actually matter, but like any player in the world would have celebrated in front of his home crowd when up like that. So it's just the spot you put yourself in when you lose a game like that. So I think it would happen to any superstar. It's not just unique to Tatum, but it is just funny to see the discourse continue. Like Tatum, hey, if anything, he's getting plenty of media coverage this season.
Sure is. I mean, Tatum, listen, man, like the roasts are not, I don't want to say deserved, but they're like justified, like whatever.
It happens
Like
after a game like this. Yeah.
they were celebrating 7 minutes left in the first quarter, and they were dominating the game, and the crowd was fired up, the players were fired up, and it didn't end the way that they thought it would. I think any team would get roasted for blowing that lead at home and then blowing another lead in the second half and all that. Sure, Tatum had 46 points in this game. He had 6 in the fourth quarter. They didn't get him the ball in the last couple of minutes of the game. Like he really wasn't involved enough at the end of the game to put his final stamp on it. With all that being said, it's just it's how the cookie crumbled yesterday. I think it's fine. Like, go ahead, roast him. People are gonna roast him. That's just how it is. People in this community, I think, get too butthurt when like the NBA casual fan on Twitter makes fun of the Celtics. They get so mad. I was like looking at stuff yesterday, and like there was a contingency of fans that were like refs, which always happens. They're like refs. They have it out for the Celtics. They rigged this game. The money must.
They did get some brutal calls in this one, I will say, and I was saying it during it. Like there were some tough ones, but it came down to the shot making anyway. So,
and I mean, then you have the contingency of the fan base that's like desperately trying to find a nickname for Jayson Tatum. Like, you got nothing going on. Like, that's what you're doing. And then you have the protect the wall people, which they were out in full force when Tatum was getting clowned. They were like, "Oh, looks like Cavs fans don't know how to win a regular season game and not understand it's not the finals or whatever." Like, if you flipped the script on this, we would all be pumped. We'd be like, "Great win. Cavs are clowns for celebrating 3 minutes into the game," and so on. It's just how the NBA goes, plain and simple. Like, that's what it is. You blew a lead, you deal with the consequences. I will say this, and I think it's important to talk about this. Nobody at the podium yesterday seemed concerned. I don't even think they seemed angry. Like, angry where, like, they were the correct amount of angry, where it was like, "Damn, should have won that." But it wasn't like there was no confidence lost from these guys, and it wasn't a cocky way. Like, Jalen was just continuously like, "Man, we should have won that game." Like, in a way where he's like internally believes that they have the Cavs beat going forward. He said,
yeah.
"Oh, we have tape on him," and so on. Tatum could not have cared less. Who was it that asked him? Gary asked Jayson Tatum, like, "What do you think about DeAndre Hunter on this team?" And he was like, "Good, I guess." I don't know. He did not care in the slightest. And of course, Joe did the Joe thing where he just kind of gave pretty fair answers to whatever he was asked. But the players in particular did not seem moved at all by this.
Listen, I think part of that was them recognizing like this was just two really good basketball teams playing really good basketball, and one team made more shots and one team made a couple mistakes that ended up being the difference because both teams were playing at such a high level. Like, bro, this document that I have, or like when I was taking notes, my entire note section was just Jayson Tatum cooked Jared Allen, Jayson Tatum cooked Evan Mobley, Jaylen Brown cooked Darius Garland, cooked like deep, got him. And in the stretches where they missed a couple shots, the Cavs just made all the shots on the other end. Like my whole notes for this game were Tatum cooks Mobley, Tatum cooks Allen, Brown cooks Garland. This part, like, cooked. And then once the Celtics started missing, it was just, holy shit, the Cavs are making every shot on the other end. Like, when you have two of the best teams in the world, that's going to happen. Like, that is high level basketball. That is why these teams are the best teams in the NBA. Like, they have guys who make all the shots in big spots and they capitalize when the other team doesn't. Just like the Celtics built their run back up after this 22-point lead, went away. Like, the Cavs fought back after that. Like that's what happens. And it is what it is. I think the Celtics recognize that. I think they're confident in their ability to beat this team regardless of this game because they understand how good the Cavs are too. So it is what it is. And the Jayson Tatum discourse was what it was. But last Celtics thing before the email. Noah Dalzell of SB Nation wrote an article for SB Nation about Joe Mazzulla mentoring Natalie Nakase, who is going to be the new head coach of the Golden State Valkyries, which is the new NBA team. And she was, given this job and everything, and she wanted to reach out to Joe Mazzulla to ask questions, et cetera, because she was like, how can I go from being a new coach to winning as fast as I can? And obviously Joe Mazzulla is a pretty recent good example of that, especially given a first-time opportunity in a spot like this. And so she told Noah, my biggest thing was, how can I pick the brains of the head coaches that win quickly? And so she, reached out through Sam Cassell because she used to work for the Clippers and she worked with Sam Cassell. They worked together. And then she met Joe, and the first thing was she told Noah, he was like, what do you want to know? What questions do you have for me? And I'm like, are you for real? Aren't you in season? And he said, I got time. She just he was just very open with his time, very willing to help. And she said, he was like, this is me, this is who I am, and take it however you want. She was impressed with his quote unquote radical honesty. Mazzulla provided blunt, honest answers to all of her inquiries. As such, when she asked him about his playing career, he plainly answered, I sucked. It was just cool to see how human Joe can be, because I feel like he has earned this reputation of he's just this psychopath who is just this, gives you, fucked answers in a funny way, and it is such a robot almost, but his willingness to help out Natalie and that whole thing, it was a really good article. Everyone should go read it, etc. But it was interesting to see, because he was just she asked him a bunch of questions, and then she left, and then she had downtime and something, and she was like, can I come back? And he just he shadowed her. She was in players meet, or she shadowed him. She's in players meetings. She did a bunch of stuff with the Celtics. She's at the Auerbach once, and that's how Noah noticed and reached out for the story. And it was just a very cool thing to see how it played out.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall the feel on Joe is that he's a pretty good guy. From everything we hear about him, he's pretty supportive of the guys. If you even look at the way he handles the players and consistently telling them he trusts them or loves them or cares about them, or inviting the families in to be there and the kids and be around the team and try and bring everybody together, I think it says a lot about his character. So this kind of thing doesn't surprise me. I think it's more a testament to the mark that he's made so quickly, that he was the person that she was interested in really getting to know. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. I 100% agree. But I'm not going to say anything more from the story. Go read it. It's on SBNation.com. You can find it. I think Noah has it pinned to her Twitter too, which everyone knows.
Also, how about Joe just thinking he sucked at basketball?
Funny, right?
This guy, he's one of the best players to ever come from my state. He's like, yeah, I sucked.
I guess relatively speaking, in the world he lives in, he sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he's no Jayson Tatum, but he played Division I out of Rhode Island and played in the Final Four, and
I mean, the context is Drew Peterson made it further than Joe Mazzulla ever could.
I guess.
You know what I'm saying? In the context, he survives it every day. JD Davison's a better basketball player infinitely than Joe Mazzulla ever was, which is some crazy context when you think about it. You know what I'm saying?
Can you imagine Joe talking about all of us playing basketball? He'd be so disgusting. He'd probably love it. He would love to see media runs just so he could sit up there and be like, you guys are all how can you talk to me about all this?
Yeah, that'd be something. But regardless, let's jump over to the email here. Reminder, as always, you guys can email us at hbtcpod@gmail.com. That's hbtcpod@gmail.com. We only have one today. It's from RJ, and it was from after the Pistons game anyways. So a new fun distraction, RJ says, morning, folks. Well, the Pistons game was a stinker, but those happen in the course of 82 games. Let's have a momentary distraction as a way to rinse the taste from our collective mouths. A new list, players who annoy us but would love if they wore green. It's pretty simple. The players that bug the fan base, but we'd yell our head off if they were annoying for us. My own 5 are Malik Beasley, not just recency bias, TJ McConnell, Josh Hart, Cole Anthony, and Draymond Green. Honorable mention, Pat Bev. Who were yours? Be well, RJ, who had Dennis Schroeder on his list a few years ago, but learned better. Thoughts?
I like Pat Bev. I like him even if he's not on the Celtics, so I really think I would like him if he was a part of the team.
Dylan Brooks is free.
Dylan Brooks is a very good one. I do think TJ McConnell's a great one because,
Yep.
I guess you could say Durant, even though he doesn't take. I love Durant's my favorite guy that's ever played here, so I'd love to see him play on the Celtics. Josh Hart's a good one. Draymond is a great one. Oh, they would love Draymond here. Like we would all be like going to war for the guy after he like stomped on Sabonis. You said Westbrook. You're muted. Your thing's fucked up again, but I read your lips. I got you. I don't know. Westbrook's an interesting one. I feel like they would almost. I feel like he would get a very similar treatment to Jalen. Like I feel like a lot of people are out on Jalen. A lot of people are down on Jalen. I see a lot of Jalen discourse online a lot. Where they're just like he's not efficient enough. He takes bad shots and so on. I feel like Westbrook could like fall into that category. I don't think I've ever said to myself, "Man, I would love Russell Westbrook here." I think people now it's a bit different. I was always
Chris
in the camp
Paul.
that Chris Paul maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
I was always in the
Embiid.
camp that I thought Embiid would be a good one,
Yeah.
but now I don't think people would fuck with Embiid. Like if he was playing here and all this bullshit was happening, I think they would turn on him. Like they kind of have in Philly. Like I think Philly fans are a fair gauge of how everyone here would act, and they're starting to turn on the guy. They're sick of him not playing games and collecting checks and collecting gold medals and all that.
Fred VanVleet, I think is a good one. He's a pain in the ass.
VanVleet, I suppose.
VanVleet is the
Jalen
player.
Suggs would be great.
He's not necessarily annoying though. I don't think. I think Fred VanVleet.
Mo Wagner, if he played the way he plays now when he was here, people would have loved him.
Fred VanVleet is like the player version of Nick Nurse. How I think the Celtics would love Nick Nurse if he was their coach, but he's not, so he's annoying as fuck.
How about Jimmy? I think Jimmy's like
Jimmy's a
number
good
one
one.
answer.
Caleb Martin. Anybody from that Heat team. Yeah, but if he was on your fucking team, you'd like it when he does this shit. That's the whole point.
I see the thing about Caleb Martin is I don't think he plays well enough consistently across the board for people to feel that way. Like if he had a playoff series, like maybe the same way people are like, yeah, respect to Grant or Kelly Olynyk for game 7, like it would be that kind of thing. But I don't think they'd be like, man, I'd be devastated if they traded Caleb Martin. Like it wouldn't be the same as like trading Marcus away. And I think Marcus is like the perfect example of like the effect any of these guys would have being here, because they'd be like, damn, this guy plays so hard. I love him. He would die out there, that kind of thing.
I think Draymond's the best one by far. Easily.
His last name's Green. Come on.
Thank you, RJ, for the email. Let's jump on over to the NBA standings. Unfortunately for the Celtics, chances of catching the Cavs are almost completely dead now because they lost the other night. But Cavs still in first, Celtics still in second, Knicks still in third, Pacers, I believe, still in fourth. I'm going to pull it up so I could check here. Bucks in fourth. I lied to you. Tied with the Pacers at 33 and 25. Pistons 33 and 27, lost the Nuggets, but still 8-2. A game behind the Pacers and Bucks. 4 games ahead of the Heat, who are now in 7th in the play-in front of the Magic, Hawks, and Bulls. Bulls are separating themselves from the Nets, now 2.5 games above them for the last play-in spot. Nets, Sixers, Raptors, Hornets, Wizards rounding out the bottom.
It feels like the top 3 are set. It feels like, 2.5 games is 2.5 games. It's not the biggest cushion ever. The Celtics will have a tiebreaker, so they would technically have to fall 3 games back compared to the Knicks now. They still have a head-to-head left, so that could come into play. But it feels like this is what it's going to look like come playoff time. It doesn't feel like the Knicks are going to fall anywhere past 3. Bucks, Pacers, Pistons is probably the most interesting watch for me now. I think it would be fun if it stayed this way. I think Knicks Pistons would be a fun series. I think we have a Bucks Pacers rivalry on our hands to an extent with the last year playoffs, with the in-season tournament, with Giannis and the basketball and running away, and there was like a brawl. Pretty good stuff. I guess we can kind of talk about it now because it's not a super extensive chat. Embiid done. Sixers dead. Officially dead. They declared themselves dead. Embiid will not play again this season. They're exploring surgical options for his knee. They might get a whole new meniscus for him, I think is what I read. Good luck. I wonder if we ever see Embiid at like a high level again. not to say he's not going to be able to play, but I'm not certain that he's ever going to be worth the paycheck he gets. He's ever going to be the best guy in this Sixers team and help them make a substantial run. I think they're really going to have to go all in on Maxey and hope that works, because they have, what is it, over $100 million in Embiid and Paul George, and Embiid's going to be there for a while, and Paul George is going to be there for a little while. Good luck. They better hit on this draft pick. Chicago, hilarious team, by the way.
Yes.
They made the decision at the deadline to punt, and yet they're separating themselves from the lottery.
Let's call a spade here. They didn't punt. They kicked a pooch punt. They were like, oh yeah, we'll trade Levine, but we'll keep everyone else.
They threw an arm punt. They threw the Hail Mary on fourth down.
They tried to throw a game-winning touchdown up by 3, but then they threw a pick, and so they're like, oh no, we punted. That was just, it was a safe bet anyways. The Bulls continue to be the worst organization in the NBA. It's not really close.
I mean, listen, they could still lose in the play-in and then fall into the lottery and, win the lottery or move up in the draft or whatever.
They're losing their pick.
Did I lose it? I thought they just traded for it back. I think that was part of
the
trade.
Yes, they did. Whoop-de-doo.
So they traded for their pick back and have just started to play better.
Yeah. Genius. Bunch of fucking geniuses over there in Chicago. Western Conference. Thunder, 9.5 game lead over the Nuggets, and then the Grizzlies half a game behind them. Lakers half a game behind the Grizzlies. Rockets half a game behind the Lakers, and then the Clippers are 5 games back of that Rockets. The top 5 looks pretty set in whatever order it ends up in, with OKC at 1. Clippers in 6, tied with the Warriors, though, who have just kept winning since getting Jimmy, 5 games in a row. Mavs half a game behind both of them. Timberwolves half a game behind both of them. Kings half a game behind both of them. That 6 through 10 seed is going to be an all-out war for who gets in the playoffs and who has to fight in the play-in. And then the Suns 3 game back of the Kings. Blazers only 1 game back of the Suns at this point. Spurs without Wemby are going to be out, and then the Pelicans, Jazz rounding out the bottom.
We'll get a look at Denver later today as you hear this. We're going to see him. We're going to see Jokic. Celtics will have their chance to beat Jokic for the first time, I think, since 2022. It's been that long since they've won a game where he's played. Really sucks to see the Lakers playing well. 5 in a row. Luka and company just beat the Clippers last night. They'll be in town on the 8th, so that'll be a fun watch when they play Boston. But yeah, OKC is just above and beyond everybody else out there. It is funny that we just have pockets of competitiveness. You've got a game and a half between 2 and 5 and a game and a half between 6 and 10. It's going to be a war. I don't anticipate any of these non-playing teams getting in. Phoenix is dead. We'll talk about that in a minute. I don't know if Portland's going to have enough to catch Sacramento, even though they've won 4 in a row now and they're streaking. We'll see. We'll see what happens. It's a long shot.
Indeed. I would love to see the Blazers do something fun. I just don't think it's there for them. They feel like the Rockets of this year, though. You remember the Rockets were like, oh, maybe we'll
they just went on a heater last year. Like, Şengün sprained the fuck out of his ankle, and we were all like, oh, man, they're dead. And then they won like 10 straight to finish the year.
Tough. All right, NBA section. Let's jump. The Mavs, according to Sam Amick of The Athletic, asked the Timberwolves about Anthony Edwards about a Luka trade. They're like, hey, we'll give you Luka. You give us Ant. Thoughts? Timberwolves said, absolutely not. They said, no. The quote was, according to Sam Amick, he was promptly told no. Talking about Nico Harrison. Timberwolves league sources, they were stunned that Dallas was contemplating parting ways with Doncic. Said no to Ant versus Luka. Initially, my reaction was, why the hell wouldn't you trade Ant for Luka? Because I think Luka's just significantly better. However, if you're betting on the upside, Ant's a little bit younger and can play defense. For as much as I don't like Ant, at least he's a two-way player. I don't know.
There's also a layer to this where when we all learned about the Luka trade, we were all like, why? What happened? If you're the Timberwolves and you're laying that much on the line, you have to be certain that it's going to work. And you mentioned the defense is the thing, and that's very true. If somebody called and was like, do you want Luka? Your immediate thought is there has to be some catch. Like, this is too good to be true. And you already have Anthony Edwards. You know what you have in him. As much as he's a dickhead or whatever, like, guy seems very motivated and wants to compete and has extreme motor and competitive nature and like a fuck you attitude that a lot of fans like, and ultimately will separate him as a competitor in the league. How many times did I say compete in like the next like 15 seconds? Let's see, huh? Luka, there's question marks around that. There really is. Like, if Lucas shows up to Minnesota and he's out of shape, and you're saying to yourself, we gave up Ant, who all we heard about is how great he's going to be, and he's the next MJ, and you have this guy. The Lakers, the reason why this trade was so unbelievable, obviously, it's like, wow, Luka got traded. That would never happen in real life. It only happens on 2K. But the package in return was also in question. The Lakers, if this doesn't work out, they're like, oh, whatever. Like, we gave up AD. Like, he was getting old. He was injured consistently, anyways. Like, he got injured right after the trade, which is hindsight. But like, you're not mortgaging your entire future. You're rolling the dice. I mean, before this trade, the Lakers were looking like they were going to be in some dark ages after LeBron leaves, or maybe not. Maybe LeBron leaving would, help them out and take the vice grip off the franchise of doing whatever he wants. But now they've got a whole new guy that they can just be like, next generation, Luka. The Timberwolves don't have that same sort of sell in this situation. So it does make sense, even if you feel like there's a gap between the players, to why they'd be like, we have our guy for a while. We're good.
Yeah. No, after thinking about it, it really doesn't make sense to trade really any young star for Luka Doncic at this point if you are confident in your young star leading your franchise. So it's tough, and I think the Lakers trade made sense for all the reasons you outlined. So it is what it is. Last thing before the Rattlers, the Suns continue to be a disaster. This is from Chris Haynes. Apparently, Mike Budenholzer took issue with star guard Devin Booker's desire to be vocal on the court. Haynes said, I was told that weeks ago Mike Budenholzer called his star guard Devin Booker into his office to issue a complaint. That complaint, I'm told, was Booker was being too vocal on the court and during timeout huddles. He implored the star guard to tone it down to let the coach's voice be heard. This completely shocked Devin Booker. In a press conference shortly after, Booker expressed or maybe this was before, I don't know when the press conference was, but Booker said it can be fixed with a little more talking, I would say, about his communication. Things can get tough. We can get quiet as a team. And from my experience, from what I've seen, that's not the way to get through it. Then Budenholzer responded to Chris Haynes' report, said, Devin and I have lots of conversations. I think it's super healthy. Internally, some of this stuff has been shared with me. Usually I'm naive or in a cave, but Devin's care factor is off the charts. And then the other thing is Kevin Durant basically knows he's going to get traded. Brian Windhorst said, Suns will trade Kevin Durant in the offseason, end quote, and he knows that. Quote, everybody's intentions are crystal clear. So what a fucking mess in Phoenix, man. 3 head coaches in 3 years, and now this shit.
Shout out to Matt Ishbia. Came in and was like, look at this team. We're going to make the best team ever. We're going to trade for KD. We're going to trade for Bradley Beal. We're going to give them no rotation players to play alongside them, and everything's going to be great. We're going to hire Mike Budenholzer, who only lasted as long as he did in Milwaukee because Kevin Durant's big toe was on the line in Game 7. And it's all going to be fantastic. And here it is crashing down. And it's a mess. And Phoenix is a fucking joke. I do not care for the Suns. This iteration of the Suns is like kind of lame. You have 3 guys that play a very similar style of basketball, and it can work, but it doesn't work with this crew. And all we've heard coming out of Phoenix, really, like even since last year or the last couple of years, was just like mediocrity. They can't get the big three to be on the court at the same time, and it's been a flop. And now that how many draft picks do they even have coming up? You'd have to imagine they get some capital back in the Durant trade that happens this summer. But even then, like, if you're a team with any sort of draft picks and you're trading for Durant, how much are you really going to expose yourself in that category? Like, you can risk a lot for 36-year-old KD and have him roll his ankle and miss time. Like, he hasn't been the healthiest guy since he went to the Suns. I wouldn't want that.
They're going to have a first this year. It's going to be the least favorable of the Cavs and Timberwolves, so it's not going to be very good.
It's going to be like the 29th pick.
They have some weird ones next year based on swaps. They don't completely own a first round pick without like swaps or like contingencies until 2032. So,
Oh my god! Again, like they're gonna get something in that stretch, and also let's
maybe to
not
trade
pretend
Booker.
like. Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, let's not pretend Booker's going to be there forever. The guy's what,
He said he
28,
wants to, though.
29? I mean,
Like
if he
he said-
wants to, great. If he legitimately wants to be there for the rest of his career, great. Respect. I do respect that. I'm not going to double standard this and be like, he's an idiot. He should go play somewhere else. If he wants to stay with the Suns and, be Mr. Phoenix Suns for his whole career, even though they don't have any real means to put anybody around him, more power to him. Made the finals. And it's just kind of not how the league goes this point in time.
I mean, there's also the angle to the Suns would probably be better off just fucking trading him.
Yes, like that is, if you want to talk about how are you going to get real draft capital back, like look no further. A team is going to have to give you legitimate assets to get you to give up a franchise piece like Booker. Do I think Booker's the number one? No. But I do think he's the most valuable guy on Phoenix right now.
Yeah.
He's pretty close. Like he is good.
I think he's a great number two too. Like shit. If you put him like, I think he could be a number one in the same way Donovan Mitchell's a number one for this Cavs team. You know what I'm saying? Like I think in the right situation he could play that type of role. The question is what team is going to trade for him. Pistons would be very cool. Maybe you could do that. Him and Cade that would actually be nasty.
He's from there.
Unfortunately, there's one team out west who has all the draft picks and all the contracts to make a trade.
And all the good players.
Yeah. Imagine Devin Booker, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, Isaiah Hartenstein.
Who gets traded in that to get him there?
Lou Dort.
Like
Lou Dort and all the picks. Lou Dort contracts all the picks. Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins, all the picks.
OKC's in a weird spot because I almost think, think of all the years we sat here with the Celtics where the Celtics held all the cards, right? Like you had the Nets picks, you had young players, and you had to kind of sit through it and be patient, and because it's becoming increasingly more difficult to just slap guys together in today's NBA and be like, you got it. Yeah. It's going to work. The Thunder are a circumstance where I think it makes sense to do that because if you look at what the Celtics did by adding Porzingis and even Holiday last year, they had guys join the team. They gelled almost instantly. They did have the right personalities when it came to wanting to sacrifice and commit and just do it, whatever it took to win. If Booker carries that same mindset to OKC and Shai is willing to sacrifice shots and MVP consideration, not to say that would completely go away, but being the overwhelming best guy on the top team, it does take some sacrifice. You do lose a bit of individual praise if you take that on. And that would be the question. It's not impossible. I think OKC has a good thing going. I think Dagnall's a smart coach. I think they have a commitment to trying to win. They play the right way. The Pistons would be interesting, though. I think they could.
I that.
I think they're in the right spot to want
Rockets
to do it.
Too.
I think Houston is another one. Like both of those teams are playing well. They're overachieving this season, and now they're in a position where it makes sense to kind of push their chips in a little bit and bet on their core, because, I mean, you're seeing what they can do without that upper. I mean, Cade's excellent. These young guys in Houston have been excellent. Şengün's excellent. But without that megastar type name on your team, Cade is now becoming that. He's had an all-star selection. He's putting up near triple doubles every day. He's been unbelievable. But
I mean,
add Booker.
Spurs.
The Spurs will be you could just kind of whisper them in any rumor going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what about them Spurs?
Spurs would be cool. I don't think the Grizzlies would be fucking sick. There's so many Booker places. The Heat, man, him and Bam.
Heat getting everybody.
I mean, right now it makes sense though for them to
trade package for Devin Booker. Who says no? Hero, Jaime Jaquez, all the picks.
No, you wouldn't have to give.
Not even all the picks. It was no picks they gave up in that hypothetical package, and they were mad that Portland didn't take it.
I think Pistons is my favorite Excuse me, for sure.
Yeah.
Or the Magic. I like the Magic a lot, actually. Magic would be very fun. All right, Ratless Sam, what do you got?
Rat list is the Massachusetts Department of Transportation. I was shortly after we departed each other yesterday, Jack, and I got in my car and drove away. I did a U-turn on whatever street I parked on, and I go to get on the ramp, and wouldn't you believe it, the ramp to the 93 tunnel fucking closed. So I drive through. I go to the opposite side of the city, also closed. So I had to drive a significant distance to get on the highway so I could go home at 12:30 on a Friday night. And I'll tell you what, I was not pleased. Not pleased in the slightest. I understand why they have to close it in the middle of the night, but it's so unbelievably just like it is the straw that breaks the camel's back when you're at your wit's end after a long day watching the Celtics collapse and give up multiple large leads and then working late into the night. My computer was giving me a hard time leading up to that, doing the show. I was trying to get all my camera and mic set up and it wouldn't fucking take it. Yeah, I was pissed. Pissed in the car. Big pissed.
Yeah, not fun. Not fun at all. Ratless, me. I was walking out of my room today and the cord to my mic is really long and I like dragged it with my toe, and so now the back port is loose, and that's why my mic has been cutting out all podcast because it's broken
Oh,
again.
it sucks.
Which is just a massive pain in the ass, which it's fine. I'm just gonna not touch it as much anymore. So, but yeah, it's just fucking annoying that it's that like sensitive, but whatever.
Rat list is me. After we wrapped up recording last night, so I'm at the garden. I have my AirPods in. I pack my stuff out, leave. Didn't grab my AirPods case. Got to my car, went to like take it out of my jacket pocket. Wasn't there. Noah did grab it for me. Shout out to Noah.
Oh, you have it? Okay.
No, I don't have it. She
No,
has
but
it.
yeah. He didn't lose
So
it.
well, here's the thing about my AirPods. I use my AirPods a lot, and I'm not going to be at the game tomorrow, so I won't get my AirPods case back then. I won't be back till
Why aren't you at the
probably
game
Wednesday. I got stuff I got to do here. It's Kaylin's birthday weekend and stuff. I don't want to have to
Happy
rush
birthday.
Up. Yep. So I'll be staying home. I also would like to play basketball, so that's an added perk. But I won't have my AirPods, so I had to go to the Apple store today to get a replacement case so I can charge my AirPods. I can use them to go to the gym. I can use them when I go to work, listen to music while I'm at my desk. Tell you what, I feel like the Apple store has an agreement with the parking company that runs the parking garage at the Providence Place Mall because they make you wait a long time before they help you with anything. I feel like they easily, when I went up to the guy, mind you, I didn't want to interrupt. I went up to two workers when I was like ready to be like, hey, can I have another AirPods case? And they were like talking about something. So I wasn't going to interrupt. They must have talked for like 3 more minutes before they acknowledged that I was even there. Like they didn't even say like, wait a minute, like I'll be right with you. I was just like, am I like approaching the wrong people? Like, do they not help customers? Are they just solely working on tech? They finally helped me. The guy takes down like what my inquiry is, and then they put me on a list. And I have to wait for the list. And then when I get helped from the list, the guy comes up to me and is like, do you know the serial number? And I was like, I don't know the serial number. So I had to wait 25 minutes for them to look up the serial number. And I just kind of thought they were pawning me off. And I was probably like 3 minutes away from just being like, fuck it, dude. I'm buying a new pair of AirPods. Like, get me out of here. I had to do this. I have other things I want to do today. And they finally helped me out. And then the guy showed me on my phone that I could just look it up through my Bluetooth. And I was like, the other guy that helped me didn't know this? Like, he couldn't have been like, can you look at your thing? I suppose I
How much was the case?
Hey, the case cost me 90. Or no,
How
I'm
much
sorry, it cost me $100. A new pair would be like 200. So I saved, I got it for half price pretty much. And like the case will suffice. Like the AirPods work okay and everything.
Why didn't you just use different headphones until you got your case back?
I don't have different headphones.
What are you wearing right now?
These are Kaylin's, but like I can't go for a run in these. I can't bring these to work. I can't go. I could go to the gym in these, but I can't run in these.
I see.
So it would have been a half week ruiner for me not to have them. But shout out to Noah because he did help.
Yeah. I don't know what I want to rat list. I don't know if I have much else. I think that just about does it. I don't got anything.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything else. I'm sure I'll get pissed off again, but by the time we next talk. But for now, we're good.
All right. In that case, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to How About Them Celtics, and I'll let Sam take it out.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you leave a like, comment, let us know what you thought of the Cavs game. Subscribe, hit the bell. We're here every single day with new content. Full pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Game recaps are up the morning after each game. Other videos are on the channel in between. We're streaming live. Pre-game starts a half hour before every single game. It's a ton of fun. We'll do your prize picks. We'll do GeoGuessr, talk with the chat, come hang out. Roundtable back Tuesday. Me, Jack, some of your other favorite Celtics beat writers, chatting it up, playing games, talking with the chat. Come hang out. It'll be here. We don't have a time yet. Tell your friends. Tuesday evening, we'll be here. Spotify and Apple will have all of our audio versions of the pods and game recaps. So if you want those, follow us. They'll go right to your feed. Leave a 5-star review. We'd appreciate that very, very much. You can email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. We're reading all your emails on the pods. You saw RJ email us today. Be like RJ, hbtcpod@gmail.com. Our socials are at How About Them C's for Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook's the name of the podcast. All streams are there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter's at Jack's Money NBA. Mine's at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.
Tic-tac-toe.